Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This one is going to be a story time. So I just decided to do a voiceover just because it's a lot easier, but it's not always going to be like this. So know that you're going to see my face, just not today. But I just wanted to get this one out as soon as possible, just because this one is gonna show you where it all began, basically. So I hope you like it. So this video is going to be about my oldest daughter and everything that happened to her. And it was some crazy stuff, let me tell you. So we moved from a one-bedroom apartment to a two-bedroom apartment. And it was just wonderful, amazing. So I didn't really feel any bad vibes. It was good vibes. So, I mean, we did good. It was wonderful until I started sensing just a bad vibe. And this was usually in the hallway. The hallway was the worst place that I could ever be, and I hated it. I hated walking down that hallway. That hallway creeped me out. It's like somebody was watching me or somebody was following me. And it's just the worst feeling ever because there's nobody there. And I just always felt that way. So I try to stay in the living room most of the time with my kids because it was usually just me. My husband had to work. So, I try to have everything I needed in the living room so I wouldn't have to go in the hallway. That's pretty bad, but yeah, that's what I did. And so there was that vibe. Everything else was good, right? And then something else happened. And this was with me and my husband. We go grocery shopping. We have 3 kids, so it's a pretty big family. So there is a lot of groceries. So we have to take turns. One would get the groceries, bring it in, and then while we're putting the groceries down, the other parent would go and get the other groceries. So that's what we would do. We would take turns, and one would always be with the children. So this particular day, my husband was out getting the groceries from the car, and he was just taking a little too long. So I peeked my head out just to see if he was coming, and I couldn't see him. So I went ahead and went out a little further, just out of the doorway. I wasn't even far. I was really, really close to the door. And all of a sudden, I heard a door slam. It was my door. It slammed so hard. It was crazy. It scared me. And I turned around instantly to check, what happened. And I opened the door and it was locked. And that freaked me out because my kids were inside. And I screamed for my husband, and he came, and we were just trying to open the doors however we could, and we couldn't do it. Everything was locked. The windows were locked everywhere. The patio, there was nothing open. So he went ahead and just kicked the door open because I was terrified. And I could hear the babies crying. They were crying, and I know they were scared. Who knows what was going on in there? I have no idea. But, after all of those vibes and everything, it just really freaked me out. So, there's that. And when I walked in to check on the kids, they were crying, of course, but Viviana just looked terrified, but she looked like in a daze, like she was daydreaming kind of. But she had this blank stare in her, but she still looked terrified. So it freaked me out even more. But everything, she was okay. Everybody was fine. So we moved forward. But that freaked me out a lot. And there was another occasion where my daughters, they had a playroom. It was not a playroom. It was going to be a bedroom, but they never wanted to stay in that bedroom. So we went ahead and just put their toddler beds in our room. And we had a lot of space. It was, it was a big bedroom. We had a big bedroom. So there was enough space for all of those beds to fit in there. And I would rather have them in there anyways. So one day, I went to my daughter's room and I was just checking in on them to make sure that everything was okay, because they were playing in their room. So I went in to check on them, and they were in the closet. Well, not in the closet, but they were standing at the door of the closet. They did not want to enter the closet, and they looked scared. So I'm just like, well, what's going on? And I went in there to see what was going on, and they said that there was a scary man in there. And my youngest pointed to the top of the closet inside, and like to a corner to the top, and they just looked scared. So I checked in there. There was nothing there. I didn't see anything. Of course I didn't see anything, but who knows what they saw. And that scared me. And then another occasion, and this one is scary as well. They were playing in their room, and I was cleaning, and I heard a loud bang, and I went to the girls' room because that's where it was at, and the dresser was on the ground, the TV was on the ground, the VCR was on the ground, the whole dresser came down with everything that was on top of it, and I freaked out. My oldest was there. She was away from there, so she was fine, but my 1-year-old, she was under the dresser. So I had to pick her up, get her out of there, and see if she was okay. And she was fine. There was not a scratch on her. I still took her to the doctor, and everything was fine. There was nothing wrong with her. She didn't have not one bruise. So I thank God that nothing happened to her. She was perfectly fine. And so that scared me as well. Who knows, what happened that day. That day was very scary, and I was on my toes with her for the rest of the week, because it could have been worse. My daughter wouldn't be here, and it's scary. So there was that. And then this last thing that happened was with my daughter, my oldest daughter. She started waking up in the middle of the night, around 3-4 o'clock in the morning. It was always around 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and she would wake up kicking and screaming, and I'm just like, what is the matter with you? The first time that she woke up, I thought it was a nightmare. So I went ahead, I tried to console her, make sure she was okay, try to put her back to sleep, but she wasn't having it. So I took her out of the bedroom because my husband had to work in the morning, and the other 2 babies were asleep, and I did not want her to wake them up. So I went ahead and just tried to take her to the living room, and she was kicking and screaming the whole time. We didn't even make it to the living room. We made it to the dining room, and we were on the floor, and she was just kicking me and screaming at me, and she was calling me names, really, really ugly names that I've never heard come out of her mouth ever. She was such an angel. She was one of those girls that she wouldn't really do anything. So it was like a surprise to me. I was in shock. So I'm just like, what is the matter? Why are you acting like this? And I tried everything in my power to console her, and nothing. Those episodes would last maybe about an hour. I would think maybe an hour of her kicking and screaming, and even spitting at my face. So that was crazy. And so those lasted for a good while. It would be every day. Every single day, she would wake up around 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and this would happen. And there was one time where I saw her, and her eyes were bloodshot red. And just looking at her and looking in her eyes, I knew that was not my daughter. I knew that was not her. She just looked so different. She just looked enraged. She looked so angry, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, what is the matter with this girl? So those fits would happen a lot. My cousin moved in with me, and she was witness to all of these fits. She took over. She took her, and she started to console her. So she saw everything. I would go into the corner and cry because like it hurt me to see her crying. I mean, to see her screaming and to see her calling me names and just being ugly. It hurt me. So after that, it kind of really affected me. So I decided to get a medium into the house and just to check it out to see what's going on because it's a lot of things that are happening. So she went in there and I didn't tell her anything. I didn't say anything that was going on, but she went straight to my daughter's room and she went straight to the closet and she said that what was going on was that there was a angry spirit and it was a man, and this man lived in the closet and he really liked to be up high, like in the corner, and that freaked me out because I was like, I didn't even tell her, I didn't tell her anything. And she said that he stuck because he was murdered, and he was trying to break into this apartment, and when he broke into the apartment, the owner woke up and heard, and he shot him, and he ended up dying in the closet because the window was so close to the closet. So when he fell in the closet, so he died. So that's where he resides. So she said the best thing to do was just to move because he's just gonna keep doing worse things. And I'm just like, no, I didn't want to move, but we decided to go ahead and do it because it was the best thing for my daughter and for my kids. I didn't want anything bad to happen to them. So, there was that. And there's other things that happen after we moved, but that can be on another video because this was just from that apartment, and we moved. We found another place and it was great. So, but yeah, guys, thanks for coming to listen to this, and thanks for supporting me. Just stay tuned for the next video. I'll see y'all soon. Bye.